portion of the first pre. Okay, good day to everyone. So in this lecture video, we will be discussing the first pre-board exam in financial accounting and reporting for October 2024 batch. So gagawin natin dito, no? Ang i-discuss natin would be the problem solving portion of the first pre-board exam, okay? Sige. So gawin natin basis yung ating copy of the first pre-board exam in FAR. Okay? Sige. So yung first problem solving natin is item number 3, no? Locsin Company. Okay. Sige. So flash natin sa screen natin yung number, tapos solve natin, then final answer. Okay? Yan. Sige. So for this item, tinatanong po tayo, Locsin Company's adjusted cash and cash equivalents balance on December 31, 2023 is, okay, tinatanong tayo ng cash and cash equivalents balance at year end, no? So Locsin Company wants to determine the amount of cash to be reported on its December 31, 2023 balance sheet. We are provided bulleted information. So ilan ba to? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, medyo marami pala to. Okay, so isa-isay natin para hindi tayo masyadong ma-overwhelm sa information. Okay? Sige. So tandaan na, ang hinahanap dito ay cash and cash equivalents. Okay? Sige. So lagyan na lang natin po siya ng pangalang bullet number 1 or B1 na lang, no? Bullet 'yan, okay? Sige. So 11 'yun, no? Lagay muna natin lahat. Okay. Sige. So isa-isahin natin. Travel advances of 175,000 for executive travel for the first quarter of next year. Oh, travel advances, is that cash? Answer is no. Therefore, do not include bullet number 1. Currency and coins on hand amounted to 4,200. Oh, this is cash, right? Yan, lagay natin pag cash. Bank overdraft has occurred at one of the banks of the company uses to deposit its cash receipts. At the present time, the company has no other deposits in this bank. Oh, pag bank overdraft, ano nga ulit rule natin? Pag same bank, okay, pag the same bank nag-occur yung bank overdraft, we simply offset it with other positive bank balances in that same bank. But since ang sabi rito, the company has no other deposits in this bank. So therefore, iisa lang pala ang account niya rito and nag-overdraft pa. So how do we report this kind of bank overdraft? That is part of current liability. Therefore, do not include that in our computation. Okay. Fourth, a separate fund in the amount of 1.32 million is restricted for the retirement of long-term debt. Anong tawag natin dito? Sinking fund. Our general rule for sinking funds are they are reported as part of non-current assets, right? So therefore, do not include bullet number 4. Petty cash fund, 3,400. Is this cash? Of course. Number 6. Commercial savings account of 950,000 and a commercial checking account balance of 590,000 are held at ACES Banking Corporation. Kapag ganito naman po ang statement, so ano yung general rule natin when it comes to our bank balances? They are generally assumed as unrestricted, right? Okay, so anong gagawin natin dito? We simply include them too, right? Okay, so that will be 950,000 plus anong isa? 590. Yan. Okay? Next. The company has agreed to maintain a cash balance of 100,000 at all times at ACES Banking Corporation to ensure future credit availability. Anong tawag natin sa 100,000? This is what? Compensating balance. Right? Ano ang general rule natin? That is unrestricted. So, connected pa rin siya dun sa concept na diniscuss natin in the previous bullet. So, therefore, do we have to include or do we have to deduct 100,000? The answer is no. Therefore, wala kang gagalawin for bullet number 7. Alright? Next, IOU. IOU, is that part of cash? No, that is a receivable. No? So, do not include bullet number 8. Company has 2 certificates of deposits, each totaling 430,000. These certificates of deposit have a maturity of 120 days. Ito naman. So this is a case of cash equivalence. So di ba pag cash equivalence, ano yung maximum period natin, class? That is 90 days or 3 months. Since the maturity period here is 120 days, then do we have to include? Answer, no. Hindi naman siya cash equivalence dito. Di ba? So tatandaan nyo, yung 90-day rule natin or the 3-month rule for cash equivalents is starting from the date of acquisition until the maturity date. Okay? Since this bullet does not provide any information as to the acquisition date, then we presume that the acquisition date is at year end. Okay? Bullet number 10. Locsin Company has received a check that is dated January 12, 2024 in the amount of 152,000. Anong klaseng check ito, class? Post-dated check. Is that part of cash? Answer, no. Therefore, do not include bullet number 10. Okay? Last one. Cryptocurrencies valued at 250,000. For accounting purposes, how do we treat cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin? Is that part of cash? Answer is no. Do not include that because hindi pa generally accepted ang cryptocurrencies. Unlike in your banknotes or coins, they are generally accepted in any transactions, right? Ito, hindi pa kasi ganun katanggap ng ibang transactions, right? Mga specific transactions pa lang, kumbaga. So hindi niya pa nami-meet yung definition ng cash na nakaset sa standards natin. That's why do not include cryptocurrencies as part of your cash. Do you follow? So ano ang final answer natin for number 3? Okay. So that would be 1,547,600, which is found in letter what? Boy. So number 3 natin is letter boy. Okay? Yan. All right. Next. Number 4. Ito yung mga nakakainis na tanong, no? Solve ka, tapos ang tanong, which of the foregoing statements is or are correct? So ang gagawin mo rito, class, no? Ito yung magiging suggestion ko. Huwag niyo munang i-analyze yung mga statements, no? Tignan niyo lang kung ano yung mga sinasabi per statement. For example, statements 1 and 2. Gustong ipa-assess sa'yo kung tama ba yung binibigay sa'yo na correct amount of petty cash fund, di ba? Pareho silang correct amount of petty cash fund on December 31 is magkaiba lang yung amount, right? Pareho yung statement pero yung amount nila magkaiba. So, alam mo na yung isa mong i-analyze sa problem, which is to compute for the correct amount of petty cash fund, right? And statement 3, tinatanong tayo, hindi ka naman tinatanong pero binigyan ka ng statement that the shortage is 420. So, yung pangalawa mong isosolve dito is the PCF shortage or overage. Do you follow? Yan. So, perform the computation of the two requirements. Okay? Yan. Kasi pag once nakuha mo yung sagot doon, okay? Mapipinpoint mo sa mga statements na to kung alin yung, ano ba yung tinatanong? Correct. Yung tama. Di ba? Okay. So, let's first compute for the correct amount of petty cash fund. So, ano nga ba ulit ang computation ng ating correct amount of petty cash fund? So, magsisimula po tayo saan? Bills and coins. No? Bilangin muna natin yung balance ng petty cash fund. Tama? So, that would be 4,560. Okay? But take note, the count was made in the morning of January 3, 2025. So, meaning, possibly may mga vouchers tayong dated 2025 na. Okay? Now, ang kailangan kasi natin dito is as of December 31, 2024. So, kumbaga, parang may iba backtrack pa tayo, no? So, lahat ng vouchers na naka-date ng 2025 class, as of December 31, 2024, they are not yet disbursed. Okay? Yan. So, kung may makita tayong mga vouchers dated 2025, we will be treating them as part of your PCF. Okay? Do you follow? Yan. Petty cash vouchers. Meron ba tayong 2025? Yes. Therefore, we will have to PCV, January 2025, no? So, kasali pa yan as of December 31. So, add back po natin 1,130. Sa IOUs, ganun din po, no? So, since nakadate yung IOU ng January 2025, we will be treating it as part of your PCF as of December 31, 2024. Okay? Yan. Right? Sir, medyo hindi namin nakuha. Bakit natin tinreat ulit ito na bill siya as part of PCF? Di ba nilabas na? Yes, nilabas siya. Pero kailan siya nilabas? January 2025. Right? Ang mga statements natin is as of December 31, 2024. So kung iisipin mo, kung babalikan mo yung December 31, hindi pa talaga yan sila lumabas as of that date. Right? Kumbaga, may cut-off tayo. Lahat ng lumabas on or before December 31, 2024, they are already valid disbursements. Therefore, they should not be part of your PCF anymore. Diba? But if the disbursements were made after December 31, 2024, then they will be treated as disbursements of 2025 na. Okay? Ganun po. Next. Unsigned payroll envelope. The envelope has been opened and there is no money inside. Okay. Nakasulat daw dun sa envelope dapat 2,000. Pero nung tinignan natin, ay walang laman. Anong nangyari dito? The answer there is, we presume that what? Na nahalo yan sa bills and coins mo. Okay? So yung bills and coins mo 4,560, hindi pa pala lahat yan sa'yo. Right? So therefore, ang gagawin mo po dyan is tatanggalan mo pa po yun ng, 2,000. Okay? Kasi hindi sa'yo yung 2,000. So 4,560 less 2,000, magkano po to? Yan, 2,560 lang talaga yung bills and coins mo. Okay? We presume na nahalo yan sa bills and coins, right? Kasi nakita siya sa petty cash box. Okay? Next, an envelope containing contributions of employees for the death of a fellow employee, which is intact naman. Pag intact, meaning naka-seal or nakasara yung envelope at nakita mo kompleto yung pera. Therefore, wag mo nang i-include yan as part of your petty cash. Do you follow? Last one. An envelope containing contributions of employees for the birthday of a fellow employee, stated amount is 200. However, the envelope contains only 150 pesos. This is in connection with the first payroll envelope, no? Or the unsigned payroll envelope. So, ganun din. Kapag nagkakaroon ng kakulangan sa perang dapat nasa isang envelope, we presume na nasasali yan sa bills and coins ng petty cash fund natin. Therefore, yung difference na 50 pesos natin, yan ay i-deduct po din po natin sa bills and coins. Do you follow? Ayun. So your adjusted bills and coins is only 2,510. Okay? Assess nga natin how much is your correct PCF as of December 31, 2024. Anong sabi? 4,640. So between statements 1 and 2, ano ang tama? The answer there is statement number 1. So lagyan nyo na ng check mark yung statement 1 and paki-X yung statement number 2. Okay? For statement 3, assess natin kung tama nga ba na 420 yung shortage. Okay. So starting from your correct PCF here, ayan, we will be needing to compute for the PCF per count. So dito, isasali natin yung mga vouchers even if they are dated 2024 pa. Okay? Sige. So, PCV December 2024, that is 3,140. IOU December 2024, 18. Okay? Meron pa ba? Yung mga kasi mga envelopes na account naman na natin, di ba? So do not include that as part of your per count na. Kasi hindi naman yan atin, right? So PCF per count, that would be 9,580. How do we determine the shortage or overage? We compare the per count to your per impressed balance. So this is versus PCF impressed balance. Magkano daw yung impressed balance? That's 10,000. Get the difference? That's 420. Pag mas mataas ang impressed balance kaysa sa per count, anong meron? We have shortage. Okay? PCF shortage to. So, tama ba si statement 3? Answer, yes. So, our final answer for number 4 would be letter C, statements 1 and 3. Nakuha niyo yung proseso? Ganon. Ayan. So, based on the recent feedback of the May 2024 CPA licensure exam, particularly in financial accounting, ganito daw yung nagiging format daw. Okay? So, sanayin niyo yung sarili niyo na ang tanong, which of the following statements are correct, incorrect, tapos ipapasolve pa sa sa'yo. Di ba? Yan. So, sanayin nyo yan dito sa first pre-board para pagdating sa board exam, ano na lang yan, CCO na lang yan sa inyo. Okay? Next, number 5 tayo. I think this is bank reconciliation, no? Ako, nga ba pala? How much is the adjusted cash in bank balance on December 31? Okay, so magbabank recon tayo, no? Okay. The cash in bank account of Marriott Company disclosed a balance of 2,030,000 as of December 31. The bank statement as of December 31 showed a balance of 1.06 million. Okay, so starting point po natin dito, class, is we will be needing to compare the cash in bank balance per book and per bank. Okay, so yung kanilang reported balances, so yung nasa libro daw, 2.03 million, while in the bank, 1.06 million. Laki ng ano yun, no? Ng discrepancy. Sige, reconcile nga natin. Okay. So this is from A to L. Okay. So isa-isahin natin ulit. Wala tayong magagawa. Isa-isahin natin to ulit, no? Okay, letter A. Company's account was charged on December 26 for a customer's uncollectible check amounting to 300,000. Anong tawag natin dito? NSF check, right? So, anong reconciling item? Anong klaseng reconciling item to? This is book. Okay? So, that will be a deduction from your book. Okay? Next, letter B. A 2-month, 17%, 600,000 customers note dated October 25, discounted on November 25, was dishonored on December 25, and the bank charged the company 620,000, which included a protest fee of 20,000. Oh, eto naman, anong tawag natin sa note na to? Dishonored note. Di ba? So kapag ang isang note mo na dishonor, yan ay ibabalik sa ng bangko, 'di ba? At tatanggalin yan sa or i-charge yan sa bank account mo, right? So again, similar to your NSF check, this will still be book reconciling item as deduction kasi sinarjan ka ng bank dyan eh, 'di ba? Okay? Sige. Letter C. Nyari. Yan. Okay. Customer's check for 154,000 was entered as 145,000 by the depositor. Oh, kaninong error to? Is this book A or a bank? The answer there is, this is a book error, right? Depositor eh. So, paano natin itatama to? Ang na-enter daw or ang na-include daw ng depositor ay 145,000. Eh di tanggalin natin, maling amount yan eh. Tapos, ipapasok natin yung tamang amount na 154,000. Okay? Klaro? Alright. Letter dog. Check 142 for 124,250 was entered in the disbursements journal at 122,450 and check 156 for 32,900 was entered as 329,000. Naku po, dalawa pa lang pagkakamali ang ginawa sa letter dog, no? Okay lang. Itama natin. Oh, sa letter dog, disbursement ha. So, baliktad po yung magiging treatment natin kasi dun sa letter C, this is a cash receipt, no? Pero sa letter dog, it is a cash disbursement. So, kapag magtatanggal ka ng mga maling amounts, anong gagawin mo? Siyempre, add back kasi nakadeduct yan in the first place, right? Oh. So, ano yung mga maling amount? Okay. 124, hindi, 122,450. So, add back muna natin yan. Tama? Tapos, ano yung isa? Ano yung mali? 329,000. So, add back din natin, no? Then, we deduct the correct amount, which is 124,250 and ano yung isa? 32,900. Okay? Letter E. Yan. Oh, bank service charge, 18,300 were not yet recorded on the books. E di-record natin, this is a deduction. Letter F. Bank memo stated that a customer's note for 250,000 and interest of 10,000 had been collected on December 28. Bank charged 5,000. No entry was made on the books when the note was sent to the bank for collection. Okay. So, meaning, nakolekta na daw to, right? Pero hindi pa natin yan nare-record. Right? So, magkano yung i-record natin sa libro natin? So, that will be 250, the principal amount, plus interest, less the service fee of 5,000. Okay? So, gagawin po natin at interest less the service charge. Okay? Yan, it is a bank receipt. Okay? Letter G. Receipts on December 31 for 240,000 were deposited on January 2 of the subsequent year. Anong tawag natin dito? Deposit in transit. Therefore, pasok natin yan sa bank. Okay? Sa wakas, nagkaroon na ng bank reconciling item. Letter H. Mga outstanding checks. Anong klaseng reconciling item to, class? Bank recon, right? The following checks were outstanding on December 31, 2024. So as we can see, meron tayo 8 checks, no? 8 check or 8 outstanding checks. Now, alin lang po dyan ang i-include natin as part of your outstanding checks here? Answer, all of them except for one. Ano yun? Yung number 143. According to the asterisk, no, certified by the bank in December. So meaning certified check na pala tong 20 mil na to. Therefore, do not include that as part of your outstanding checks. Okay? So, add natin silang lahat, pero gawin nating negative sign, no? So, 30 plus 70, 30. Isa-isahin ko lang po 40, 60, 70. And lastly, ano isa? 50. Yan. So your correct outstanding checks is 350,000. Okay? Okay. Letter I. Deposit of 200,000 was recorded by the bank on December 5, but it should have been recorded for Marion Company rather than Marriott Company. Pakibalikan nga, sino ba yung company natin? Marriott, not Marion. So, kaninong error to? Kay bank. Anong klaseng error? Is it erroneous receipt or erroneous disbursement? Erroneous receipt. Right? Anong gagawin natin para itama to? Siyempre, tatanggalin natin yan sa natin, sa bank, no? Okay. Hindi naman natin kasi yung pera. Next. Letter J, petty cash of 100,000 was included in the cash in bank balance. So, ano ba ang magiging treatment natin dyan, class? Dapat bang kasali yan sa cash in bank balance si petty cash? Answer is no. Okay? Ang petty cash is a cash on hand item, right? Kasali siya sa cash and cash equivalents account mo, but it should not be included as part of your cash in bank. Okay? So, tatanggalin natin. Kasi take note sa bank recon, ang nire-reconcile natin dito is yung cash in bank balance per books versus cash in bank balance per bank statement. Ang hindi alam ng bangko dyan yung about sa petty cash. So, labas yung bangko sa PCF. Okay? So, tatanggalin natin yung PCF from your book balance. Do you follow? Okay. Letter K. Yan, malapit na tayo matapos. Proceeds from cash sales of 600,000 for December 18 were stolen. Company expects to recover this amount from the insurance company. Cash receipts were recorded in the books but no entry was made for the loss. Anong ibig sabihin ng letter K natin? The cash receipts were recorded. So meaning, nung natanggap mo yung 600,000 from your sales, ni-record mo as a cash receipt. But, since it was stolen, dapat tanggalin mo yan ulit. Kaso anong ginawa ng company? Hindi pala natanggal. Di tanggalin natin. Kasi hindi siya nakapasok sa bangko, kumbaga. Bago makapasok sa bangko, ninakaw na. Di ba? Last, letter L. The December 21 deposit include a check of 200,000 that had been returned on December 15 marked NSF. So the company made no entry upon return of the check. The red deposit was recorded in the cash register of Marriott as a collection on account. Okay, sige. So anong issue nung last item natin, class? Number 1, tumalbog. Di ba? Tumalbog. So, the company had made no entry upon return of the check. Dyan muna tayo. Okay? Dyan muna tayo. Okay? Anong gagawin natin sa mga tumalbog na cheque? Siyempre, nung natanggap mo yung cheque, in-include mo yan as your cash receipt, right? So, anong gagawin natin pag tumalbog siya? Tatanggalin din dapat natin, right? So, sa letter L, okay, tanggalin natin si 200K kasi tumalbog pala yung cheque, right? Next, the redeposit of the check was recorded in the cash receipts journal of Marriott Company as a collection on account. Okay? Ano nangyari dito? Hindi na nakagawa ng entry for the return of the bounce check. Tapos nung nire-deposit, nag-record ulit po ng 200,000. So, effectively, ang naka-record sa libro niya is 400,000, not only 200,000, right? So since na doble yung pag-record niya, ipapasok lang natin yung pag-disburse, no? Or yung pagbalik ng cheque. Yun lang. So yung ginawa natin kanina, yan na po ang magiging adjustment for letter L. Do you follow? Kasi kung imagine niyo sa libro ng company, hindi lang 200,000 yung cash receipt, but 400,000. Magkano lang ba talaga yung natanggap niya? Di ba dapat 200,000 lang? So successfully redeposited naman siya ng December 21. Yun nga lang, yung naging problema sa libro na doble yung 200 instead of isang 200 lang. Do you follow? That's why yung ginawa natin kanina, yun na po yun. Okay? Alright. So magkano adjusted? Yan. Sana po ay balance ito. Tingnan natin. So book. 750,000. Si bank. Yung galing. Pumalanse. Di ba? So anong sagot natin? Letter A. So number 5, letter A po tayo. Okay. Next item of problem solving, number 6. Tuloy-tuloy, no? Walang pahinga yung problem solving. Okay. Na naman, which of the following statements is or are correct na naman ang tinatanong? Okay. So tingnan mo agad yung statement. Ano ba yung mga inaano nila? Pinapaasa sa'yo. Required allowance for doubtful accounts. So, magko-compute ka ng ending allowance. Letter B, doubtful accounts expense. So, dapat makompute natin kung magkano yung doubtful accounts expense na ito. And letter C, how much is to be presented as AR? Naku, iba-iba pala yung tinatanong. So, kumbaga, ang lumalabas, isang item, tatlong requirements ang ipapa-assess sa'yo, no? Ayun. So, wala tayong magagawa. Kailangan mong computed isa-isa to, no? Okay. So, since may idea naman na tayo with regard to your allowance method, ano ang una natin gagawin, class? Siyempre, we will be producing our aging of accounts, right? Okay. Sige. So, aging was made on December 31, 2023. So, sundan lang natin yung categories, no? Okay. Sige. Alright. Ano yun? 1 to 120 days. Okay. 121. Ay, 121 to 240 days. Okay. 241 to 360 days. And ano yung isa? More than 360 days. What are the amounts involved? 300, 100, 75, and 25,000. Okay? Kaso, based dun sa last paragraph natin, doon sa more than 360 days category, additional accounts of 5,000 are to be written off. So meaning, sa 25,000 po, may tatanggalin pa pala tayo, no? So that would be 5,000. Okay? Do you follow, class? Yan. Write off nyo before kayo mag-aging, no? Kasi tandaan nyo sa aging, nag-e-estimate tayo, no? Kumbaga, may mga doubtful accounts tayo dito, no? So, ang gagawin po natin dyan is i-estimate lang natin yung percentage. The percentage should be less than 100% doubtful. Right? Pero kasi yung 5,000, 100% doubtful ka eh. 100% certain ka na hindi na makukolekta, right? So, therefore, tatanggalin na natin. Okay? So, what are the uncollectability percentages? Convert natin to percentages to. 10%, okay? 30, 50, 75. Okay. So, multiply nyo lang, no? Per yung amount per category by their related uncollectability percentage. Okay. So, anong tawag natin dito, class? This is your allowance for doubtful accounts. December 31, what year? 2023. So, tama ba? Letter A. Answer? Yes. So, lagyan nyo na ng check mark yung copy nyo. Okay? Next, doubtful accounts expense for 2023 amounts to 47,500. So, for this one, kailangan natin gawin yung formula, no? Formula ng allowance for doubtful accounts. Okay. So, for Excel purposes, i-ano lang po natin to. I-formula lang natin. But you can do your T account on your own. Okay? T account, pwede nyo gawin yan sa sarili nyo. Okay? Yan. So, ano nga ulit yung components ng allowance for doubtful accounts? Allowance for doubtful accounts, syempre beginning, right? Then, ano yung nagpapadagdag po sa kanya? Yan yung kailangan nating alamin, di ba? So, that's the doubtful accounts expense for 2023. So, ito po yung hinahanap natin for the second one. Okay? Ano pa? The restatement, okay? The restatement of accounts written off or previously written off. Okay? And ano yung nagpapabawas sa allowance natin? That is the write-offs. Ayan. Do you follow, class? Okay. Now, take note na-compute na natin to. 1,2,500. Copyin lang natin. Next, alamin natin yung ibang information dito. So, magkano daw yung allowance for doubtful accounts? January 1. That's 80,000. Plot natin. Next. 40,000 accounts were written off. Okay. So, actual write-off is 40,000. While the recoveries of accounts previously written off amounted to 30,000. So the recoveries, these are your restatements here, right? So magkano yan? 30, no? Okay. O yan. As we can see, ito na lang yung kulang natin, no? Squeeze out nyo na lang. So, workback nyo lang po. Doubtful accounts expense. Magkano ang doubtful accounts expense natin dito? Ang nakalagay is 42,500, right? Now, ito yung catch. Ito kasi yung madalas sa inyo dito, no? Magpapadali, no? Take note. Okay? Take note. given po yung 40,000 accounts written off, right? Pero pagdating sa last paragraph, tandaan nyo, may additional write-offs pa tayo. So yung 40,000 na yan, class, no? Yung unang given na 40,000, yan ay hindi pa finalize. Yan. So sabi ko sa inyo, may ano yan eh, yung letter B ang pwedeng magpadali sa inyo diyan, no? So kung hindi niyo napansin or hindi niyo naalala na may additional write-offs pa lang maghaganap, naku po, malaki ang tsansa na mafo-false niyo yung letter B. Di ba? Okay. So adjust natin yung write-offs. Pagdating sa write-offs, ang mangyayari diyan, okay? Yung 40,000 mag-a-add ka po ng 5,000. Yun no? Oh, tama ba yung statement B? Yes. Tumama siya. So true pa rin yung statement B. Okay? Yan. So, lagyan nyo ng malaking checkmark ang letter B natin. Okay? Yan. Mag-ingat kayo dito sa, ano, sa item na to, no? Okay. Sige. Letter C. Oh, tinatanong tayo magkano daw yung AR na ipipresent natin. Paano tayo mag-present ng AR class? Is it gross or net of contra accounts? Answer is net. Okay? Net na dapat siya. Alright. So, first, computin natin yung AR December 31, gross, less allowance for doubtful accounts. Amount to be presented as AR. O, magkano yung ano niya, yung gross? Answer, makukuha niyo lang siya doon sa mga amounts na to per category. Paki-ano lang siya, paki-add lang lahat ng amounts na nasa 4 categories, okay? Yan. So, 495,000 less your allowance for doubtful accounts of 112,500. Magkano ipipresent natin? Oh, 382,500. Tama ba yung nabigay? Yes. So, lagyan niyo ulit ng malaking checkmark sa letter C. Oh, what's the final answer for number 6? All of them are true. So, letter dog po tayo. Do you follow? Di ba? Yan. Okay. Sige. Number 7. Carrying amount of the note on December 31, 2022. O, ano to? Ano ito, no? Notes receivable. So, based on the context of the problem, this is a non-interest-bearing note, which is payable in installments. Di ba? So, tinatanong tayo magkano ending balance niya. Right? So, ang una muna natin gagawin dito is, syempre, computein niyo po yung initial CV niya on January 1. Right? Paano ka mag-compute ng initial CV rito? Pag payable in installments, gagamit ka ng annuity. Di ba? Oh. Since the first payment will start on December 31, 2022, which is the end of the period, this is an ordinary annuity. Okay? So, to compute for the note receivable on January 1, anong year to? 2022, that will become, okay, ang installments mo is 2 million. Then, compute nyo na lang yung PV factor. I trust naman na alam nyo na paano mag-compute ng mga PV factors dahil, di ba, pinukpok ko na kayo yan during our discussions in class. Okay? For decimal place, the correct PV factor should be 2.4869. So, the initial amount should be, ayan, 497,300, right? Then, you add interest income. Kasi tatandaan nyo, even if non-interest bearing siya, meron ka pa rin interest income dito. Right? So the interest income should be based on your CV or beginning CV times the effective rate of 10%. Okay? Less installment due. Magkano installment ulit? That's 2 million, no? So less 2 million. So magkano po si note receivable natin at the end of 2022? Answer is 3,471,180. This is found in letter dog. Okay? That's letter dog. Right? Okay, sana kung ganyan yung tanong, no? Direct yung tanong. Hindi yung which of the following statements is or are correct or incorrect dahil talagang may additional procedures kang gagawin dyan. Right? Ayan. Okay. Letter tuloy. Number 8. Naku po, yan na naman. Which of the following are correct? Naku po, ito naman, mas malala. Kasi may mga statement 1, statement 2, 3, 4. Di ba? Naku po. Pero wala tayong magagawa, dapat masanay tayo. Okay? Sige. Kung titignan natin, statement 1, initial measurement. So the first requirement na i-solve natin is the initial measurement. Okay? Next, statement 2. Actually, hindi siya computation, but rather a conceptual question based on the problem solving. Di ba? Kasi given naman agad yung indirect origination cost sa problem, tama? Tapos, ang pinapa-assess lang sa'yo, tama ba na hindi siya i-include sa measurement ng loan receivable? So, it is just a mere conceptual question, no? Not necessarily a problem-solving question. Okay? Or statement. Statement 3, interest income. Okay? So, second requirement natin, interest income. And statement 4, year NCV. Yan. So, ilan yung mga kukumpute natin? 1, 2, 3. Tatlo. No? Okay. So, simulan natin sa initial measurement. So, this is number 8. Okay. Paano tayo mag-compute nga ulit ng initial measurement? Paano nga sa akin? Paalala dahil makalimutin si sir. The joke lang. So, let's start with your principal. Okay. Then, ano yung ina-add natin? Direct origination cost. Then, ano yung dinededuct natin? That's your origination fees from the client. Anong year to? 2023. Okay? Principal amount, how much? 1M. Direct origination cost, 120, ano yun? 856. Origination fee from the borrower, 44,900. Therefore, magkano initial measurement? 1,075,956. Magkano yung given sa statement 1? 1,128,560. Is that a correct statement? Answer, wrong. So, lagyan nyo ng malaking X ang statement number 1. Okay? Yan. Sir, hindi ako confident na tama yung computation ko. Maging confident ka. Okay? Yung formula, okay? Based yan sa mga discussions natin and of course, sa standard yan nakukuha. So, dapat confident ka sa knowledge na dala-dala mo. Okay? Kasi pwede kang i-shake ng mga statements dito, no? Kasi ang iisipin ng reviewee dito, hala, baka mamaya may nakalimutan ako, babalikan mo na naman yung mga given, 'di ba? Magda-doubt ka bigla. Huwag mong gawin 'yun. Kasi pag once nag-doubt ka, ma-shake yung knowledge mo. Huwag ka mag-doubt. Trust yourself lang. Okay? So, statement 1 is incorrect. Lagyan nyo ng malaking X yan. Statement 2. Tama ba o mali? Indirect origination cost should not be included in the measurement of loan receivable. Tama o mali? Answer? Tama yung statement. Because hindi naman talaga natin ini-include yan sa computation. Right? Ano ang treatment nung indirect origination cost? Di ba expense? So, tama si statement 2. Lagyan nyo ng malaking check yan. Next, interest income. Okay. Interest income for 2023. Paano tayo mag-compute ng interest income? Answer, based sa CV, right? So, idamay na natin pati yung last statement, no? Kasi total, connected naman sila. So, interest income, that will become 1,075,956 times, what's the effective rate? 9%. 96,836 ang na-compute natin. E magkano yung nakasabi sa statement 3? 120,000. So, the statement is, again, incorrect. Lagyan nyo ng malaking X yan. Maging confident kayo. Okay? Push yourself na tawag dito, na trust yourself. Okay? Magtiwala kayo sa knowledge nyo. Okay? Yan. Okay lang yan dahil nasa pre-board pa lang naman, no? Nasa pre-boards pa lang tayo and allow yourself to incur mistakes. Kasi through those mistakes, doon natin matututunan. Di ba? Kumbaga, mas iigting yung pundasyon. Right? Ganon. Okay? Yan. So, ganun kasi yung yung objective ng mga pre-boards, no? I-assess yung knowledge mo, okay? Allow yourself na magkamali ka, okay? Basta just be true to yourself. Pag tumama ka, very good, okay? Pero pag nagkamali ka, wag kang ma-depress, no? I-take note mo na dito ako nagkamali. So tatandaan ko dapat na ganito yung concept or yung computation. Okay? Ganun po. All right. So statement 3 is wrong, okay? Then last statement, loan receivable shall be carried at 1,052,792. So, computin natin. So, the loan is interest-bearing, right? So, meron ka makukolekta dyaang interest. So, less interest received. So, the interest received is based on your face amount and stated rate, right? E magkano stated rate natin? 12%. So that's 1 million times 12%. Oops. Ayun. Yung 120,000 na nabanggit sa statement 3 pertains to amount of interest received, but not necessarily the income. Okay? So magkano ang loan receivable natin? 1,052,792. Okay. Teka. Yan. So ano yung nabanggit? Oh, 1,052,792. Tama? Answer, yes. Lagyan nyo ng malaking checkmark si statement 4. Tama siya. Okay? So, what's the final answer for number 8? That's letter C. So number 8, letter C po tayo. Okay? Oh, next, number 9. Grabe, wala talagang pahinga. Tuloy-tuloy pala yung problem solving nito, no? Nasaan ba mga theories nito? Tingnan natin, nasaan ba mga theories? Ayun, no? Numbers 11 and 12 pa. Sige, so wala tayong magagawa, no? Ganyan yan eh. Okay, so now, loan impairment naman yung problem natin. So kapag loan impairment tayo, class, ano ginagawa natin? We compare the CV, no? The CV of the loan versus the present value of the future cash flows. And dito natin ma-assess yung kanyang impairment loss. Okay? Ganun lang. Right? Yan. So, ganun ulit yung tinatanong, which of the following is or are correct? Ayan. So, present value of future cash flows, recognition of the impairment loss, interest income for next year, no? Okay. So, first, computin natin yung A at B muna. Okay po? Alright. So, for the PV of the future cash flows, you simply multiply each of the cash flow given by the respective PV factors. Okay? So, ano yung date na ito? Teka, saan natin lalagay? Dito na lang? Okay na? 2024, 25, and 2027. O, magkano yung mga cash flows? 500, 1 million, 2 million, and 4 million. Then, what are the PV factors? For one period, 0.9. For two periods, 0.81. For 3 periods, 73. And for 4 periods, 0.66. Okay. Ayan. So, multiply nyo lang, no? Okay. So, for the present value, magkano po ito? 5.36 million. O, lagay natin yan dito. Next. Tama ba yung letter E natin? 5.36 million? Yes. So, lagyan nyo ng malaking checkmark po si letter A. Okay? Next. Recognition of impairment. So, we must compare the PV to the CV of the loan. So, paano natin kinocompute ang CV ng loan? That is, outstanding principal plus accrued interest. So, according to the problem, the bank accrued the interest on 2022 but did not continue to accrue for 2023 due to the impairment. So meaning, isang taon lang po ang accrual of interest natin, no? Okay. So this will become 7.5 million plus, okay, 7.5 million times ano yung stated rate? 11%. O magkano 'yon? 8,325,000. Okay? Is there an impairment? Yes, kasi mas mababa na po yung PV, no? Okay. Kano? 2,965,000. So tama ba yung nabanggit sa letter B, impairment? Yes, 2,965,000. Okay? And letter C, the interest income to be recognized for 2024 is 589,600. So paano natin i-assess yan, class? Siyempre, yung interest income ng 2024 natin is based on your CV, right? But since nag-recognize ka ng impairment, then your revised CV will now be your present value of future cash flows. Okay? That is based on 5.36 million times. What's the effective rate here? 11%, no? Tama? Okay. So, tingnan natin. Oh, 589,600. Tama? Yes. So, final answer for number 9 is letter dog. Okay? Yun. Oh, naintindihan? Yan. Okay. So, letter dog si number 9. Oh, next. Number 10. This is receivable financing. Okay? Oh, receivable financing tayo. Sige. Naku po, yan na naman tayo. Walang sawang ano. Pero this time, incorrect na naman. So, paki-underline incorrect ha. Baka mamaya ang hanapin nyo yung tama. Tapos yung tinatanong mali pala. No? Okay. So, ano bang mga tinatanong? Statement 1. Company shall simply disclose its notes about the pledging. Tama ba? Dinidisclose lang natin yung pledging? Yes. So, statement 1 is correct. Okay? Lagyan nyo na lang ng malaking checkmark si statement 1. Kasi actually parang ano lang siya eh. Theoretical question. Mukha lang siyang problem solving, pero theoretical question. But even if that is the case, huwag niyong kalimutang i-include pa sa computations to. Okay? Yan. Statement 2, equity in assigned accounts. Naku, about ito sa assignment, no? So that's connected with letter B. And statement 3, the total amount of cash. Naku po, lahat pala dito. Ay, lahat ba to? Hindi. Mukha lang siyang lahat. Pero statement 3 involves statement C. Okay? Oh, mukha lang siyang di ba? Mukha lang siyang comprehensive. Pero pa isa-isa pala yung nasa mga statements natin. Statement 1 is for letter A. Statement 2 is for letter B. And statement 3 is for letter C. So, statements 2 and 3 na lang i-assess natin, no? Okay. So, let us compute for the equity in assigned accounts. So, the formula is AR assigned December 31, 2024, no? Versus note payable ba yun? Yes, note payable yung involved. Okay, AR assigned. So initially, magkano yung inassign na AR dito? That is 200,000. Next. The December collections of assigned accounts amounted to 95,000, which is net of 5,000 discount. Oh, kapag nagko-compute ka ng AR assigned, ano yung ide-deduct po natin? Is it only the collections or the whole account na na-settle dito? The answer is the whole account, okay? Hindi lang yung 95,000. So, ang i-ano po natin dito, i-deduct natin is 100,000, okay? Yan. Tandaan nyo yun dahil di ba kapag nagko-compute tayo ng AR, naka-gross yan sila doon. Okay? The amount na i-deduct mo sa kanya must be gross of what? Of the discount. Okay po? Sige. Next. Sales returns, 7,500. So, less po tayo niyan. And write-off, 10,000. So, the AR assigned at year end is 82,500. Next. For the note payable, December 31. So, to compute for that, magsimula ka dun sa December 1. Less collection, payment on principal for December. Do you follow? Magkano yung note payable natin dito? That's 150K. Okay. Less payment on principal on December. Okay? So kapag magko-compute ka ng payment on principal in December, first, determine the collections in December, less payment on interest. Ayan. Okay? Medyo matrabaho. Oo, matrabaho siya. O, magkano yung naging collections ng December natin? Yan yung 95,000. Okay? Then, payment on interest. So, that will be 150,000. Okay? Times, what's the interest rate? 12%. And take note, 1 month lang ito. So, times 1/12. Okay? So, magkano ang payment on principal natin? That's only 93,500. O, magkano ang note payable at year end? 56,500. O, lagay natin dito. So, magkano equity in assigned accounts? 26,000. Tama ba yung nabanggit? Answer? Answer is tama. Right? Tama yan. Okay? Sige. Next. So, lagyan nyo ng malaking check mark yung statement 2. Tama po siya. Okay? Letter C. Total amount of cash received from the sale of AR without recourse is 10.2 million. Letter C tayo. So, basahin ko lang. Without recourse. Face amount, 12 million. 15% commission. Factors holdback, 10%. Proceeds lang yung tinatanong, di ba? So, paano tayo mag-compute ng proceeds from factoring? So, first, AR factored less commission, okay? Less factors holdback. Hindi yan high blood, holdback yan. So, proceeds from factoring. Okay, how much is the AR factored? That's 12 million, okay? Commission, ilang percent? 15, so less 15%. Holdback, 10%. So that will be, okay. So magkano proceeds? Ano to? Tama? Yes. Tama, no? Okay. Sige. So lagyan niyo ng malaking check mark yung statement 3. Ay, check mark tuloy. Malaking X mark pala, sorry. Malaking X mark dahil 10.2 million yung nabanggit. Tama? Tapos, ang tamang sagot natin dyan dapat 9 million lang, right? Ayun. So, ano siya? Maling statement. Malaking X. Okay? But last, balik na tayo sa statement 2. May hindi ako nabasa. The equity in assigned accounts to be reported in the SFP is 26,000. Di ba ano na-compute na natin 26,000? Kaso, ano ba ginagawa natin sa equity in assigned accounts? Nire-report ba talaga yan sa SFP? Hindi. Dini-disclose yan, class. So, yung statement 2 natin, okay? So, let me take back yung nabanggit ko kanina. Sorry. Hindi, nawala sa isip ko na SFP pala yung nasa statement. This is our incorrect answer. Okay? Incorrect answer po yung statement 2. Sorry for that. Okay? Lagyan nyo ng malaking X ang statement 2. Alright? So, based on our assessment, alin dyan yung mga incorrect statements? Statements 2 and 3. So, number 10, letter C. Do you follow? Okay? So, final answer for number 10, letter C tayo. Alright? Okay. The next two items are theory questions. So, okay na yan, no? Sige, so let's now proceed. So, next item natin would be number 13, no? Okay. So, for number 13, this is equity securities. So, FVPL ang problem natin, no? So, ito naman, bali ang magiging tip ko sa inyo dito, class, is pag FVPL, no? Yung magiging accounting natin dito is you compare the fair values at year end versus the fair value last year, no? Assuming na walang nabenta yan during the current year. Okay? Yan. So mag-ingat lang because ang given sa atin dito ay yung cost at yung market value at the end of the year 2024. Take note, nabili pa tong mga shares na to noong 2023, tama? So yung cost niya, that was way back 2023 pa. So, dapat malaman natin magkano yung naging market value niya noong December 31, 2023. Okay? Sige. So, since nagkaroon po siya ng 50,000 unrealized loss in income statement, ang naging fair value niya is mas mababa sa cost at the end of 2023, di ba? Ayan. So, take note, your fair value at year end of 2023 is only 1.8 million. Okay? Ayan, no change in the composition, so meaning wala namang nabenta. So ang tinatanong, what amount of unrealized gain or loss that would be reported in 2024? So you simply compare the fair value December 31, 2024 versus its fair value last year, no? Okay. So fair value in 2024 is 2.1 million versus the fair value last year that is 1.8, no? So since mas mataas yung fair value at the current year end, there is unrealized gain amounting to magkano? 300,000. So our answer here is letter C. Okay? Next, number 14. Ito naman, fair value through OCI. Okay, so tinatanong, magkano daw unrealized gain or loss in the first section, OCI, and second is statement of financial position. So yung number 1 natin, yung OCI section of